Welcome to Trader TV, your insight into institutional trading. I'm Dan Barnes. The launch of a real-time indicative net asset value, or iNAV service for exchange-traded funds can potentially transform market transparency and efficiency. To discuss this are Laura Purnell of BlackRock and Erik Dixon of TradeWeb. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
So Erik, to start with, why has TradeWeb launched the iNAV calculation service now?
Back in 2020, there was a unique liquidity environment for fixed income, as well as volatility in the market. This highlighted a distinct lack of quality fixed income data applied to intraday asset valuation for fixed income ETFs. At TradeWeb, we had a number of inbounds from the market asking whether we had a solution to this using the fixed income data from our platform. We started looking at fixed income ETFs, notably BlackRock iShares. We were able to assess coverage, quality, and so on. And encouraged by that, we extended the service into a fully fledged iNAV calculation service, which launched just in February of this year. And that covers fixed income, equity, commodities, and multi-asset ETFs.
That's excellent. Thank you. And Laura, how would you characterize the value of this potentially for investors?
Yeah, so I sit on the fixed income trading desk at BlackRock and trade across all major securities for our global platform, including UCITS fixed income ETFs. So that really affords me a pretty broad perspective on how our various client types are accessing markets.
Yeah.
And I would say it's pretty clear that fixed income ETFs are playing an increasingly important role in the market, both in the electronification of fixed income markets, but also in client portfolios. And it's an area of the market where we're really seeing transparency in pricing evolve. So we're really excited about the TradeWeb iNAVs, and that's because they're going to provide us with a more realistic and immediate way of looking at ETF pricing in the market.
That's great. So Erik, what's different about TradeWeb's iNAVs?
The TradeWeb iNAV is unique in two significant ways. So first is the application of TradeWeb's fixed income data to the calculation of the iNAV.
Mm-hmm.
TradeWeb is a leading multi-asset trading platform which attracts liquidity from global dealers and regional banks. So when we're calculating the iNAV, we take a bottom-up approach where we find a price for every constituent within the fund in real time. That flows up into a single iNAV price, which we then disseminate. The depth of liquidity in our platform means that we are able to do outlier analysis and quality checks on that data so that we are always using the best available price for an instrument at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And the breadth of the liquidity means that we have coverage across all fixed income. Secondly is our interpolation of equity instrument prices when the underlying markets are closed. So when we're looking at an equity ETF basket, we have situations where either the underlying exchange is completely closed, like Japan, or is a mix, so like New York. What we do at TradeWeb is take the most correlative future for a constituent and proxy the movement for that equity based on a future price that's pricing. With that, we're able to track quite closely the movements of the basket, even when the underlying market is closed. BlackRock was instrumental validating that methodology, and we continue to improve that as we develop the iNAV calculation service further.
Laura, how do you see the value of that uniqueness playing out as a user of the service?
So according to our data, our trading volumes are increasing year on year for fixed income ETFs, not only at BlackRock, but industry-wide. And fixed income ETFs are increasingly being used as a point of reference for the fixed income market when they're pricing other instruments. Normally when we're trading, we have to mimic the basket ourselves in order to create the iNAV, or rely on dealers to show us kind of where the levels are real time. So having the iNAV that's being streamed from TradeWeb is really informative to our trading capabilities, because the platform itself covers a huge range of securities and intraday pricing that we're receiving on individual bonds. So collectively, that's a very powerful information source to have feeding through for the basket. We trade across all major securities.
Yeah.
So this just alleviates some of that time spent trying to calculate where 2,000 bonds on an underlying fixed income ETF is trading.
So Erik, what's the outlook for iNAVs next?
So we are extremely encouraged by the response that we've had from market makers, other issuers, industry groups, etc., on the launch of our iNAV service. having BlackRock as the first customer of the iNAV calculation service is a pretty big endorsement in the industry. And as we onboard more issuers to the service, we're excited to sort of bring transparency to a new standard for the ETF markets. Further to that, our enhanced iNAV data output introduces an iNAV bid, mid, and ask, which allows market participants to do spread analysis and deeper pre-trade analysis to their trading activities off of iNAV.
I think the direction that we're going in generally is greater transparency of the fixed income markets, and fixed income ETFs are playing a prominent role. I'd say that the iNAV in particular is going to have many use cases, especially as it comes to dealers thinking about the development of ETF algos and how we can execute more of our ETF flow on screen. We're seeing a big change in the dealer landscape as well. When I started at BlackRock, there was very few dealers who were pricing fixed income ETFs. And now we have the vast majority of banks and electronic market makers participating in this market, which brings more competition and then also tightens the bid offer for our clients when we're executing in these instruments.
Guys, that's been great. Thank you both so much.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Been a pleasure.
I'd like to thank Laura and Erik for their insights today, and of course you for watching. To catch up on our other shows or to subscribe to our newsletter, go to tradertv.net, and don't forget to watch Trader TV This Week every Monday morning at 6:45 GMT.